And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of What's Going On Here. My name is Tomo Loverick, also known as T-Love in vacuum repair circles, just in case you're wondering. And with me, as always, I have the wonderful, the talented, if you haven't seen it, actually, and this is not a joke, this is a serious thing, go to Sean Quigley on Facebook and watch him perform all sorts of musical theater, because the man is just killing it. And can I just say that journey, that was really something. That was really something. I heart flutter. So he is a jukebox singing, musical theater, managing, I almost said mangling, managing a talented guy that we all love and know as Sean Quigley, or as he's better known as the Quig in space shuttle repair circles. Sean, how are you, sir?
Good, keeping it together. No coronas so far. Keeping away from the coronas.
Oh, okay.
The coronavirus. Although my mother-in-law is convinced, she keeps talking to my wife on the phone, as mother-in-laws do, and she's convinced that my wife had the coronavirus in January, before anyone, pre-China, like somehow maybe she originated it in Lodi, New Jersey, and then it got shipped back to Wuhan, and then made its way back over here again.
All right, I'm going to do the Andrew intro, and I'm going to get back to that. Hold that thought, because I'm with your mother-in-law on this. Anyway.
I think I had it. Whatever she had, I'm not saying it was COVID, but whatever she had in January.
We'll circle back to this. And with us, as always, we have the face of the organization. Look at that smiling guy. Look at him with his shirt, with that beautiful artwork behind him. He is the face of this organization. It's kind of like the A team, but we're not the A team. We're like maybe the Q team, maybe? Quigley? Q?
I like it.
Okay. The Q team, and he is just a marketing guy, a whiz guy, and that's because he gets drunk and pisses on the street. And we love him, and his name is Andrew Albagees, or AA, as he's known in retirement circles, whatever those are. How are you, AA?
I'm doing well. Just hanging out in those retirement circles and hopping on Zoom to talk with you guys.
Excellent. What else would we do? We can't talk to each other in person. I actually saw a very funny video somebody made of some woman was spoofing, what is it called? Like Dude Dad or something like that on Yahoo. And the wife was spoofing him during the Corona whole thing.
Oh, Jib Jab? The thing where you put your face over the cartoons?
No. This is called literally Dude Dad.
Oh, Dude. I thought you said Dib Dab.
No. I was about to drink my drink, and I haven't talked about a drink. So anyway, first, before we circle back to all the little tangents we just took off, if you don't know our show, we have a podcast, and this is a podcast. We will be putting these up on YouTube as well. We do a show where we go into the popular zeitgeist. We find something that's just like on everybody's mind, and then we put it in a cauldron and we stir it in with analyses and breakdowns and tangents, and then we figure out what's going on with this popular thing in pop culture that's happening, and that's what we call our show, What's Going On Here. At the same time, we review wonderful drinks of all sorts, whether they're cocktails, beers, wines, spirits, whatever. We do that as well. This is a second part of a two-part series. We started covering the Tiger King in the last episode. And as you can see, because this is coronavirus and we're isolated, we didn't have the same beer to share or the same drink to share. So we all decided to make our own separate cocktails. I will start this round because we all did the last round and everybody had something different. Andrew had a wild turkey. Sean had a tab and a traveler's gin, right? Am I correct? Or traveler's club? Travelers Club gin. My apologies. It's a fancy gin. You can probably only find it in its plastic bottle at a 7-Eleven. And I had the Manhattan, which I made with Jameson whiskey instead of rye whiskey. So before all the bartenders get on their high horse, I know it's supposed to be with rye whiskey. I didn't do it that way. So we will continue with our Tiger King coverage in this episode. But first, we will get to the drinks. Yes? And I will start with my drink, which I made. This lovely thing here is called a Boulevardier. And if you're asking yourself, T-Love, what exactly is a Boulevardier? And I will tell you this. It's basically a Negroni, which we had a couple of episodes ago, but with whiskey instead of gin. So there you go. So it means it's whiskey, rye whiskey. I don't have rye whiskey, so I will plug them again. Jameson Black Barrel, which is absolutely delish on its own, if you want to have that. But it's whiskey and vermouth rosso, Martini and Rossi right here, and Campari. So it's 1 part Campari, 1 part vermouth, and 2 parts whiskey. And that's my drink. Who wants to go next, boys?
I'll go. I'll make it short and sweet.
Yeah.
Being that we are in these coronavirus times and I only go to the grocery store when necessary, I didn't have much to mix myself much of a cocktail.
Okay.
On the last episode, I had my wild turkey. And with the exception of switching to either a vodka straight up on the rocks or a scotch, I have yet again kept it simple, and I've stuck with the good old-fashioned Wild Turkey 101 on the rocks. No need to complicate things.
You know, I would say that's cheating, simply because you're doing the same drink in 2 episodes, but extenuating circumstances, so I will allow it. Sean, what do we got?
I have kept it more simple compared to last episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sticking with the old faithful, the Travelers Club gin.
Oh,
this time,
delicious gin.
Yeah, this time I'm mixing it up with a bit of good old fashioned tonic water. Yeah.
So gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic.
You know what? I realized I made a horrible faux pas in the last episode. We didn't grade our drinks.
That's why I'm sticking with the same one.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Really?
Well played.
Yes.
I didn't know we were switching.
Okay. Sean, what do you give the Tab and Traveler's Gin? It's from 0 to 5. And let me write this down.
I mean, it was liquid.
Mm.
I mean, I guess that already qualifies it to be
A drink?
I would say it is. It was a solid 1.2. If I'd have been the adventurer that I am not, I would have instead have grabbed a Diet Coke out of the fridge, which we have.
Okay.
Tab. Diet Pepsi. I'm sorry. We have Diet Pepsi and we have Tab. The wife's drinking Diet Pepsi. I'm drinking Tab. And, you know, I think the Diet Pepsi would have raised it a couple of decimal points, like a couple of...
So you had a 1.2 for the Tab and gin. Excellent. But this time you're doing gin and tonic. Okay.
Yeah.
With the
But
same...
I ran out of ice. I don't have any ice left. So it's kind of... It's like lightly chilled.
These are desperate times.
These are desperate times. Andrew, you are doing the wild turkey again, keeping it simple.
Yep.
So wild turkey, you don't have to give us a grade at the end of this episode. What do you give us for the wild turkey there?
Like I think I mentioned at the beginning of the last episode, this is kind of a go-to for me. I'm a big fan of bourbons, and I think wild turkey is underrated, especially when you account for how much it costs compared to some other bourbons. It's a little bit less for a really good bourbon, especially if you get the 101. So for me, this drink, the little wild turkey, I like it with a little ice, but you know, you can drink it however you want. So for me, that's to go to, and I give it a 4.5. Cheers.
You give a wild turkey a 4.5.
Yeah.
Out of 5.
Yeah.
Wow. This is Tiger King territory. All right, very good. I made a Manhattan, and like we said in a prior episode, I made the Manhattan with Jameson Black Barrel instead of rye whiskey, which I'm sure they're going to poo-poo on me for it. And it had Angostura bitters and a little bit of vermouth. So it was 2 parts whiskey, 1 part vermouth, and then some Angostura bitters. And instead of a cherry as a decoration or a citrus little peel, I did cranberries, which was extra nice, and I really enjoyed it. And I'd give it probably a 4-4. Give that one a 4-4, the Manhattan. But we renamed
wild turkey.
It's no wild turkey, no. But I named it the Murray Hill with the cranberries and everything. So I'm giving it a 4.4. Thank you, Todd. All right. So you got the grades from the prior episode early on in this episode. And let's pick off where we left off with the Tiger King.
Yeah.
Where we left off was Joe was in dire straits against Carol Baskin. She had him basically by the short and curlies. She won a court case. He owed her $1 million. Joe meets a guy who supposedly has money by the name of Jeff Lowe. Jeff Lowe is a dude that dresses like he just came from I almost said Blink 182. It's not Blink 182. What was the other annoying, like, semi-punk hip-hop band? They did a cover of Faith by George Michael. Limp Bizkit.
Red Durst.
He looks like he just came from a Limp Bizkit concert, and he's 63 years old. And apparently he's into young women all the time. His wife is, she's a day over 25. I'm Queen Victoria. There's no way she's that old even. Like, apparently he likes really young women. And like I said, he has the bandana with a baseball cap on. He's got like a jean jacket on.
It looks kind of like what I'd imagine a dude would look like in a Motley Crue tribute band. Like,
absolutely.
Tribute. He's like, yeah, his name's, Chad, and he's an accountant, but he moonlights as Tommy Lee in the evenings.
Yes, in fact, we should name that band right now. I think they should call themselves Motley Band. I think that's a great cover band for Motley Crue. They call themselves Motley Band. That's what I think.
This Friday, Motley
Band. Yeah. So okay, we did the drinks already, right? There's a lot of whiskey here, and I don't know what I'm drinking anymore. Did we?
Yes, we did.
Yet? We didn't cheers each other yet, did we? So this is the Boulevard Deer. That's what this was. Did I say that already?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. Cheers, boys. Oh, Sean.
Good.
Fuzzy face juice, Sean. You will enjoy this. Boulevard Deer, absolutely.
That's my biggest problem. Not my biggest problem, but that is a problem for me right now in this quarantine. I don't have anything, not that because I never normally do, but I don't have anything to mix any drinks with. I've got a little bit of like lime juice and agave I've got to make margaritas, but with the exception of that, because at home I usually don't. I'll just drink like a whiskey or something like literally just like this. And now that I'm literally just stuck at home, I want to like try and create all these different cocktails and do all these different things, but I'm only trying to go to the grocery store every once in a while.
Do you have a tequila?
I did. It's gone now.
Oh.
It's gone until the next run.
I was going to say, one of the lovely, simple cocktails to do is pour some coffee and tequila. Like a shot of coffee and a shot of tequila. And it's just marvelous.
Okay. I'll try that.
So if
Once
you
I
get,
got it.
in fact, it became so popular because somebody was doing it that Patron put out a tequila that's with coffee already in it.
I've had that. Patron Cafe,
Yes.
I believe they call it. That is fantastic. It is so good.
So if you have a really nice coffee, go ahead, Sean. What were you going to say?
No, just the idea of a Patron cafe. I just love the idea of it. It's just a cafe where like half the patrons are just asleep. It's just like, I'll have a croissant and a...
The bottle is called Patron Cafe.
But listen, Patron Cafe could be the complete opposite because let me tell you, nothing helps the hangover better than some greasy-ass food. So Patron Cafe could just have like bacon and freaking eggs, and that's it. Speaking of which, and COVID, I made the best pancakes the other day ever. Bob Mills, they're paleo. There's no grains. It's pretty much just like nuts and cassava flour and that kind of stuff. And I put some wild blueberries that I had from Maine when I was in Maine last summer. Best pancakes ever. If you get a chance and you see it, Bob's Paleo Mix, get it and make some pancakes.
All right.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Anyway.
Sounds good.
So Jeff Lowe, young wife, shitty guy.
He like to swing.
And you're right, swingers. He very obviously said he's a swinger. He comes along, he meets Joe, and he brings Joe out to Vegas. He's based in Vegas, and it's a huge house with an indoor pool, and he shows Joe like how the high rollers go. Jeff Lowe is also like a big cat guy, and he has been a big cat guy since his like 20s or something like that. And so he arranges a thing with Joe. Joe gives him the little cubs, and they go to Vegas and bring them to hotel rooms. And this is how Jeff like charges people to come to a hotel room to party and take pictures with little tiger cubs and lion cubs and leopard cubs and whatever else they had. And also how to get girls in bed. And Jeff, in a very classy and very husbandly way, standing next to his wife, says, "Oh, well, you know, you get a lot of pussy by giving a little pussy."
I mean, what a line.
Well, I mean, you can't even write this stuff, honestly. And he's laughing, and his wife is just kind of like,
Yeah, it's like you said that, and he thought it was so clever.
He did. Yeah. But well, since you have your lovely lady next to you, ask her if that works.
I don't have to ask. It doesn't.
Exactly. Right answer. Very good. See that?
I think if you find yourself a good woman, she's not going to be interested in exploiting small exotic animals. So
no, exactly.
Yeah.
A terrible woman, in which case you just go, oh, never mind. So anyway, so this guy comes along, and apparently he bedazzles Joe with all the money, and Joe brings him to the zoo, and Joe kind of offers a partnership. He says, "Hey, you want to partner in on my zoo? I've got 227 cats. We make money, blah, blah, blah." Jeff apparently says, "Sure, I'll do it, and I'll invest money." And at this point, Joe has had enough of Carol Baskin suing him because she won a court case. He's supposed to pay her $1 million, and he wants to go into mediation to settle everything.
And it's kind of pedestrian at this point. Like, she's suing him because he used her logo for some videos publicizing a roadshow of his where he took cats on the road. Because that was another thing we didn't cover. That one of the first, I think it was actually the first time she actually came across Joe. She met him, figured out who he was, is because he was running these roadshows to malls, where he was taking these animals to malls, and then they got ahead, and they used to call the malls ahead of the time and let them know what was going on, and shut it down. And they used to make all their money doing that. Like he built up his whole zoo from that because they used to make a crazy amount. And you see them around here, like not with the big cats, but with like, goats, petting zoos. It's exactly the same theory. They make good money. They set all the county fairs. They have like goats and sheep and like llamas or whatever, and just pack them into the back of the car and just be like, "Hey, here's a petting zoo. Give us $5, and you can come and just walk around."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So she wins. They're having this mediation talk on the phone with the mediator, Joe, and Carol. And now, whether that's the case or not, they never went and got Carol's side of the story. But in this side of the story, they got Joe's side of the story, and we had the conversation with, you heard it on the phone, and Joe kicked everybody out of the office except for Jeff Lowe, and Jeff Lowe was sitting there because at this point already, Jeff Lowe's a partner in the zoo. And so what they offer is, they said, okay, we'll settle. You can pay us money by giving us some $5,000 a month, but you have to stop the cub petting pictures. You have to stop the breeding. And as collateral, I want your parents' house. Which was kind of like, okay, you're not concerned about just kind of ending this. You want to destroy the guy completely because you want his parents.
Which he should have been like, yeah, okay. Based on the first episode where he was like, hey, my daddy said that like I couldn't turn up at his funeral because I'm gay. And then all of a sudden, 3 episodes down the line, we would like see these pictures of his poor parents like, ooh.
Yes.
I did think that was strange, right? That they kind of reintroduced his parents, which, I mean, granted, that was awful, like them trying to take his parents' house and everything else and his mother. And well, also he took advantage of his parents. We'll get into that in a second. But I thought it was strange they brought that up, but never kind of readdressed what he had said in the first episode, like you said, Sean.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of, I think the main issue is that Joe says a lot of shit that doesn't necessarily line up with the truth. Right. And it's hard to edit.
And supposedly, the reason why they were going after the parents and their house and everything was the majority of the paperwork and money spent and everything else, Joe was putting in his mother's name.
Not only that, if you remember, to avoid all the lawsuits, because Joe was trying to basically have her run out of money, which he was just basically pissing in the wind, because he was trying first, he like signed over the ownership to John Finley, the first husband, if you remember. And then he like signed everything over to his parents.
And he had the guy managing the park who we didn't talk about, who was this sad sack guy, the guy with no legs.
Yes, John Reinke, I believe, is John Reinke, who was the guy who actually like kind of, and he was the one that talked about like Joe in the most positive light, because he used to say like, look, Joe is what Joe is, but he really like looked after like a lot of these outcasts, like people that had like nowhere to go, nothing to do. They were at the end of their rope. Joe would come along and give him a job and give him a place to stay and give him some food and like all this stuff. John Reinke was kind of his big fan, because later on in court, he would say nobody ever asked him to testify. And the first husband, John Finley, said like there was no one there to testify for Joe as a person. Because everybody was covered in their own ass when everything hit the feds. So, yeah, that's right. They had a sob story with the parents because Carol was going after her parents, and they did a Facebook fundraiser. And Joe was basically, he could not stay away from being famous and trying to make money for nothing, really, was Joe's problem.